And I'm tan. Oh, thank God.
Yes. I know. I was like, I forgot to put a tan.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
But I swear, with the hydration too, like
Yeah, it
it
makes a difference.
lasts. No matter,
Yes.
even if I'm scrubbing, it fades so much
It's
smoother
so
rather than
good.
blotchy.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Hair check.
Yep. I'm like, ooh.
All right, welcome to Chick Chats. This is a visual podcast where we sit down with fellow boss babes and discuss hot topics and our life around the business and everything. So, our chick on the couch today is Ceci. She is the owner of Everything Beauty here in Cleveland. So, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, like Alyssa said, I am the owner of Everything Beauty. We've been in business for almost 5 years. We are mostly a spray tan studio, but we are looking to expand to something a little bigger, more boutique-y, and bring a lot more fun services to our studio.
How exciting.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for all of that.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's dive in. So, first question. Going out on your own and being independent in the beauty industry has been like super popular these last few years. So what made you decide to become a business owner, and how was the process of starting out for you?
Yeah, so for me, I'm a little bit later in the game to coming into the beauty industry. I had 4 kids and wanted to open up my own studio. So instead of going to work for somebody, which is not a bad thing, I decided to take a chance and open up my own boutique, or studio, I should say. So with that being said, it took a little bit longer to grow, but worth the freedom.
Yeah.
So for me, the trade-off was having the flexibility to still be home for the kids, and not feel that pressure to be, a slave to another business owner, kind of thing. So that's sort of why I went into owning my own studio.
Yeah.
Also, you have the freedom to do what you want in the sense of, branding and how you reach out to people and stuff like that. So for me, it just worked out better that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And what year was it that you guys opened?
So it will be 2018. It was when we opened. Yeah. So it'll be
Was
5
it,
years.
and it was just you at the time, right?
Just me at the time.
And since then, you guys have added on.
Yeah. So I will be honest, the first couple years, I did treat it more like a hobby, for various reasons.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You were a mom first.
Yes, mom first. And the disadvantage to not working underneath somebody, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You think opening up your own studio, it just is going to grow, like fairies are going to come around. And it does take more than that.
Right.
So at that time, I wasn't doing maybe what I needed to do to build it quicker.
Yeah. And now, did you open this fresh out of school, or did you go somewhere else first?
Fresh out of school.
Okay.
So again, like thinking, just putting your name on a door, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
But with that being said, it still was good for my situation at that time.
Right. And you got to build slowly.
Yes.
And now you're this big booming business.
Yes. We are definitely understanding what it takes to build a true business.
Yeah.
So like I said in the beginning, I was more of a hobby-ish kind of mentality. And with that being said, I was able to really like get to know my customers and put the time in to get my craft better, which was nice without serious pressure. And then COVID came. So that was a little bit of a challenge, as you know.
Yeah.
Which also helped me sort of refigure or sort of sit down and really think of why I wanted to keep doing this and find my passion again. So it was sort of cool.
Yeah.
I came back and then we got busier little by little, and my daughter just came on full time. So we were looking to grow, and now it's turned into really a true business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's okay to have also, like, I don't want to discourage people from thinking they don't have, we can all find what works for us.
Yes.
People's version of success is different. And I feel like I used to have such a, Instagram makes it tough, and you start to compare and you start to think like, why isn't mine doing this, or whatever the thing may be. And I really have learned that we all have our own definition of success, whatever that is. And it's not always equal to monetary success or Instagram success. It truly is like a passion.
Yeah.
And when you treat it that way, it grows into what it should be for each individual. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, if you're making everyone happy and you're loving your life, that's all that matters.
Literally today I was working and I literally was like, I seriously love what I do.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard, as we've talked about, and it takes work every day.
Yes.
But I literally was like, dang, I get to be around women or people.
Yes.
I get to know them little bits in here, little pieces here and there, but you get to make them feel good, and like, how fun is that?
Right. And it's such an intimate service that you do, so you create such a connection with everyone.
Yeah. I literally was saying that today, so yeah.
What Was there what like went through your mind that made you realize you wanted to put more of an effort into the business and turn it into a growing business versus a hobby?
Yeah. So I think a couple things. One, when you love what you're doing, you also want to give it its full potential. And I think for a little bit there I struggled because you do have to give up time. And because I am a little bit older and went through COVID and stuff like that, time became really precious to me.
Yeah.
But I also felt like I was doing a disservice by not putting time into something I love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think when you sort of sit down, you think about like what makes you happy and what your calling is in life. That's sort of what turned it around for me. And I was like, okay, let's give it its true time and work and
Yeah.
effort, and let's see what happens.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now your daughter is on board with you.
Yes.
How does that feel?
Yes, amazing. So Karina came on in December, left her full-time corporate job. We probably weren't truly ready for her to leave. If you look at the numbers, someone would have been like, probably not a good idea.
Right.
But she took a chance on something that she wanted to give more time to. And no, it's going to take time,
Yeah.
just like anything else, right? Yeah, so she jumped on board. She runs all the back end stuff. She does work in studio too, but she's helping me. Like, I'm old school.
Yeah.
Like, I rather talk to people, get your business that way,
Yes.
do a good job. So for me to do Instagram, Facebook, I mean, it's like 10 hours for like
It's way too much for
one
person.
picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she does most of the back end stuff, and it's amazing how much that's helped. Again, like, do I wish it didn't matter as much as it does? Sure. But
Right.
this is a reality
It's
of the time.
2023.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
when she posts consistently, it makes a difference.
You watch
When
it, yeah.
she talks about a product, or literally it sells like crazy. So it's like,
Yeah.
I needed the help to make this keep progressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, kind of on the same track, but not really. How do you manage bullies and bad reviews in the business?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
whether those bullies are past clients,
Yeah.
someone you don't even know, or even other professionals in the business.
Yeah. So for me, I've been very lucky so far. No bad reviews. But again, we have 125 five-star Google, which is
Amazing.
exciting.
Yes. You should clap yourself just
Yes,
for that.
super exciting. Which is another whole struggle on how to approach people for those. And I think that's a thing, like, as a small business owner, we struggle to ask for reviews. But people want to give them to you. And if they don't, that's okay too.
Right.
Like, I let people know, like, no pressure. We don't compensate for our reviews, which I don't think is a bad thing too. I know some people like to give incentives again.
Right. But sometimes that can be fake.
Yeah, fake into like, yeah. I mean,
You
again,
know,
we all
yeah,
can decide which way works for us,
Right.
but the people that understand what it takes to grow a business want to help you with reviews.
Yes.
So I've been very fortunate in that situation. I will say for me, the biggest thing I see, at least in the spray tan world, or yeah, for me, just because that's what
Right.
I do mostly. It's hard to find people to connect that are in the same industry local.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say they're necessarily bullies per se in that situation, but they're not helpful, or they're not going to be someone that's going to want to go get lunch with you. And I feel so
It's
bummed
very
about
much a
that.
competition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because what's for you is for you. There's plenty of business for all of us. And I feel like the more of a community you have with women, especially who love to do what you do, it only helps you all grow. Like,
Yeah.
we're here like to empower each other. And for me to build the spray tan industry and to make it accessible for lots of people, I wish I could like go hang out with some fellow
Yes.
spray tan
Yeah.
artists and
No.
like do this.
Yeah.
But it's just not like that. So
I agree
I'm just
completely.
like, oh, but
Yeah.
so me and you end
Yeah.
up talking
Yes.
about our individual dreams and like
And we connect on that
troubleshoot.
level, but
Yeah.
it's different too, because like I
different.
could talk about hair with you and you
Yeah.
don't fully understand, and vice versa. But I found that same thing is you will get so much love and support and praise from other people in the same niche as you that live in another state.
Yes, like I
However,
could go.
finding someone that's even just one town over that wouldn't be as competitive because
Yes.
they're taking other people.
Yes.
They're not
No,
there for you. It's
no.
very much a like
It's
competition.
so sad, and it's like too, because like number one, I'm only one person now, Karina. So like sometimes I can't get everybody in.
Right.
I would love to have someone, which I do refer people out to other style or other spray tan artists, but they don't even know I'm sending them
Yeah.
their way. Or like, what if I'm on vacation? Like,
It would be nice to have that connection.
Yes, and
Yeah, and
just
be
like,
like,
hey,
I
I'm
trust this person so
Yes,
much. She'll
yes,
get you in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if that customer decides not to come back that's okay too.
They weren't for you then.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
whatever reason, the chemistry's better, or truly that's what I would think, because like skill
Right.
wise, I take my education seriously. So I feel
You're
like
very
on
prideful
that,
in that.
yeah, I am prideful in that, and I work hard. So I feel like if chemistry's off, then please find someone that makes you happy
Yes.
and you love walking into your appointment and you want to come back.
Right, because at the end of the day, we're not going to vibe with everyone. And
Yeah.
there's so many clients out there.
Yeah, it's like
There's
endless.
someone for everyone.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
And I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of mentors out of state that own very successful spray tan company businesses that have taught me that. You know, I think 4 years ago, I would have been like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to tell anyone what solution I
No.
use. I don't want to tell you.
And I think we were brought up that way in the industry as well.
Yeah.
Because when I went to beauty school, oh my God, I think that was like 12 years ago. now,
Yes.
which is
So
crazy.
wild.
But
Yes.
that's how it was. It
Yeah.
was like very much a competition.
Yeah.
Competition. It was competitive in order to get your client
Yeah.
in your chair. And even in the salon, you would want to take from someone else's chair, and that was such
and
a
you'd always
toxic
be, and it's so
environment.
like it makes you feel horrible.
Yes.
And then you're afraid to go talk to someone and be like, hey, what did you just do?
Yes.
Or like, how did you do that? And I feel like that's how we level up.
Yep.
When we share our gifts, our talents, A, it helps us level up, but B, I also want to always be learning.
Yeah.
Like, so if I
Because
was,
if you're not, you're stagnant.
yes, and
Yeah.
that means you're not, you're done.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So when I want to reach out to someone, I'm also thinking like, hey, like how can we help each other to just level up? You know
Right.
what I mean? Because that's how we do our industry, and people give them good service.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. What are some boundaries you implement in your business life to help you with your mental health? I feel like this is a huge one
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh, literally huge, as we were just talking about.
talking about
Okay, so a couple years back, I had a really big scare with COVID. EB had been opened for almost 2 years at that time. And that, like I said, was a huge wake-up call, right?
Right.
And I, at that time, learned how important it was to take care of myself physically, but also mentally. So, and how to juggle that with the business. I think the biggest thing that we always have to find time for is, and this is hard, especially if you're a one-girl show, so I know
Yeah.
this won't apply to everybody, but start to find little things that fill your cup,
Yeah.
whatever that may be. I know you like to read,
Yes.
and I know how hard it is sometimes to fit a good book in, right?
Right.
But I think if we don't stay intentional and taking care of ourselves, it does show in our business. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard sometimes. You start to lose a little bit of passion, and I don't think it's even that we're losing the passion. I think it's just that we're tired.
Yeah.
And it does
And
translate
it turns into burnout.
and it does translate to mental health.
Yeah.
And this is a reality. And it, so I feel like just filling your cup, however that is, like
What
if
does
it's a
that mean
small,
for you?
yep, for me, I like walking. I love makeup. So I'll go
Yeah.
play in my makeup room. I read like you do.
Yeah.
I journal. I mean, I go to therapy. I won't
That's all
lie.
so
I go
healthy,
to
though, too.
therapy
Yeah.
once a month for
Amazing.
various reasons.
Yeah.
But whatever that is, we all have different things that we like. And sometimes it might just be 10 minutes a day,
Right.
5 minutes a day. I think if you let it accumulate too far in between, it's hard to bounce back without a total reset. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that can feel a little scary, especially when we can't really shut down.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to put on a happy face. And I feel like, yeah, every day just taking a minute or two to regroup, as hard as it is, you know?
Yeah. But I also think in the beauty industry, we are meant to think that we have to be at 100% all the time.
Yes.
Whether that is
Yes.
how you look on the outside,
Yes.
because that's how we were brought up for
Yeah.
this industry,
Yeah.
or it's just what you put forth. Because if you're not at your best, we have this like feeling that if we're not at our best and we're not performing at our best, whether that is just through conversation or actually our skill set, it's going to it is going to end up in an unhappy client.
Literally. Or you feel like you're missing out on social media, or
Yeah.
you feel
And
like
it all
it's-
snowballs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're missing out. And I feel like, yes, all those things are very important. But if you don't feel happy inside, your business can't thrive.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're not meant to be perfect. We're not meant to pretend that we're not struggling. I
Right.
think that's the other thing too. Like, we have to lean on each other. And that's why it's fun to have friends that are in the same industry,
Yeah.
because you have to stay real too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as much as we love this and we are so blessed to have our own businesses and they're thriving, we have hard days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's when a text is important, or no text is important. Sometimes less is more, you know what I
Yes.
mean? But just staying honest with the ones that love you and support you, because we need a tribe to get us through those hard days.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
And here's something I've been thinking about lately because I am going through a hard time mentally recently. And I feel like, yes, it's more something that has been open and discussed about on social media, but not face to face with people as much.
Yeah.
Is there are you open with your clientele when you do have those down days mentally, or if you aren't, have you thought about that and how you would try and implement
Yeah.
that conversation with them so that they kind of understand, like, hey, I don't mean if I come across rude right now,
Yeah.
I'm just not at my best inside my head right now.
Yeah. I sort of like that question too, because I feel like we all want to always be like, "Yay, I'm good," right?
Yes, right. We're wearing a mask.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel like our clients even need to know, like, we're human, but also if they're having that time where they're struggling, yes, we're not going to have I don't need to know everything,
Right.
but I also want to be there for them. So
Right,
to
and you
answer
want to
your
make
question,
sure that you're being mindful during that time with them
Yeah.
as well, that you know
Yeah.
that they're in a certain spot and
Yeah.
maybe they need a little bit of
Yes,
a
like,
little
don't
bit
talk
more
so much.
space
Yes, yes.
than usual, just because they're not going to be
Yes.
reciprocating that as well.
Yes, I do think, and so I've learned to say, I maybe won't go obviously into full detail with them, but
Right.
I also am learning just as an adult with anybody to be like a little more honest with my feelings. Like I
Yeah.
don't always have to be like, I'm great. Hey, like I'm having
Oh
an
my
okay day.
gosh.
You know
That
what I
is
mean?
so, yeah, like
Yes.
everyone's like, the first thing is, hi, how are you? But
Yes.
no one really cares to ask.
No,
It's
and
just that
it's
common thing.
yes, and we usually say great or I'm good, and it's like sometimes I'm not, and I think there is a way to word that and to be honest, but not like bring other people down too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that fine line as a provider. You know what I mean?
I agree.
But I think, like you said, also vibing off of how they feel. Sometimes I know I don't need to talk a lot. I'm a talker by nature. I want to
Yeah.
make people feel great, but sometimes that means just being quiet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And I've seen a lot on social media that these silent appointments are becoming big.
Yeah.
Do you have that for your business?
Yeah, so I don't, but someone that I know in this industry does. So I think I didn't make it a per se service. I just became more aware once they brought that up. So now if someone seems a little more quiet, I'm just like, great.
Yeah.
Ask the important questions that I need to know, and the rest just leave them be. You
And
know
I
what
think that's
mean?
as important as a
Yeah.
provider too, is to play off of their social cues. I noticed that
Absolutely.
behind the chair too, that if I ask a couple questions and they give me one word responses, they're probably not open to talking right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even when I come in to see you a little bit more frequently for my, blowouts,
Yes.
sometimes I just zone out.
Yeah.
And you're very
I can
respectful of-
totally tell. You
Yes.
just you're like, this is just me pampering
Yes.
right now and I just need this
Yes,
moment.
yes.
Yeah.
Pretend you don't know me.
Yes.
Just let me be. And you do. And I think that also is a very good thing to have when someone walks in the store, because sometimes we just want to replenish.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And say nothing, but walk out looking
Yes.
stunning.
Yeah, I know. My nail girl, I think she's caught on to me because I will come in and it's literally the only time in the month where I have 2 hours to sit and do nothing because you
Yes.
can't touch your phone or do
Yes.
anything because you're getting your nails done. I fall asleep in her chair.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm out, so she knows like that's her time to just work because I'm
Yes,
not going to be talking
yes.
to her.
Or when you're like, we're done, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess I'm ready to get up and go.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
know.
it's amazing, and I think that's what is also great about, we can do a lot for someone's morale, and how they're
Oh, yeah.
feeling. And I feel
Again,
like,
that goes back to it's such an intimate appointment.
Yeah.
You're literally touching each other.
yeah, right. Your energy, your touch, your all of it, what you say. I mean, I think like what other profession can you do, like the beauty part, to
Right.
make them feel good inside part. So I feel like it's a really cool like industry
Yes.
to be in.
Yeah. What are some tips you have for building a business in a struggling economy? Because we are definitely in a recession right now,
Yeah.
and I hear a lot on social media about businesses that are struggling.
Yeah.
And you were in during COVID when
Yeah.
businesses had to shut down for a month here.
Yeah.
And we had to deal with that struggle. How did you deal with that?
Yeah.
And has that helped you heading into the recession that we're currently heading into?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is, well, a couple things. Staying educated, staying current in your field helps when a recession comes. I
Yep.
think like the work you put in when the economy is booming will help you when it's a recession.
It comes back around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like, I'll be honest, I think the beauty industry is we're a little bit safer sometimes in the recession.
Yeah.
Because we love to feel good. We like to
Right.
look good, and people really make it a part of their lifestyle.
Yeah.
Does it
I
affect us? 100% sure. You know, a spray tan, 100%. You
Yeah.
know, by no means are we like a lifestyle yet.
Right.
It's coming for
Yeah.
sure, but like people nails and to me nails and like color are huge for people. I feel like
Yes.
that's the two things. But with that being said, does it still affect us? Yeah. So I think what we do when the economy is great helps us weather those slower times.
Yeah.
And then too, you know, pricing what you're worth 100%. Like I believe in that.
Yes.
I believe that I should make a certain amount of money, and
Right.
whatever that is, it's relative to each individual person.
Right.
Again, I'm not saying we all have to charge the same thing, but charging your worth is always important regardless of when it is in the economy. And I feel like people respect that and they know what you bring to the table. So
Yes.
when it is a slower time, they still come in to support your business if they're able to.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not for everybody,
Right.
but I feel like it's really what you put in
Yeah.
when it's good,
Yeah.
hopefully weathers the storm.
I agree completely.
You know what I mean? And then that's when you hustle your other stuff. That's when you're networking more. That's when you're doing your education. That's when you're doing videos, like whatever you can to get ready because the economy will flip
Yes.
and you have to be ready for that too.
Right.
So pour into other things when it's slower.
Yeah.
You know, it's no different than busy season for me. And then when it's slow season, it's sort of like, you know, a downturn
Right.
in the economy. It's not, but then you got to do other things to
Right.
keep, it's not maybe a monetary compensation, but it is something for your business that will come back.
I agree completely, and
Yeah.
I love all of that. I do think we are the fine line as a beauty industry because yes, we make people feel good about themselves, but at the same time, when they're looking at their bills and money is tight, we are one of the first things to be cut
Yeah.
out. Especially if they feel good about themselves
Yeah.
at that
No,
current
for
moment.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
But then it comes back to bite them in the butt because a couple months later they maybe let their color go too long, and now
Yes.
they're feeling terrible about
Good
themselves, and
point.
it becomes like the first priority for them because they
Yes.
need to feel that well.
Yes.
So I feel like we can get into this lull of we getting a lot of cancellations because everyone's in the same boat at the same time because of the economy.
True.
And you need to fill your time,
Yeah.
like you said, putting that time back into your
Yeah.
business. But then it comes to a point where everyone's trying to get back in and you're already
Yes.
booked up over there. So this is a two-parter.
Yeah.
First,
And for you, it's probably a lot more challenging.
Yeah.
Because hair is a
Yes.
whole, I mean, I can do a tan in 20 minutes.
Right.
15 minutes if I really
I do
have.
color in 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah. So for you, I can't even imagine in the hair. I'm sure
Right.
the hair world is a whole different can of worms. So that,
Right.
like I said, for me, it's a little bit more easier to rebound in that sense, like squeezing
Yeah.
people in and also like regrowth. Like you're going to fight and they're almost going to pay what they would have paid if they just would have weathered the storm because like you
Right, they're
can't
gonna
correct
pay-
something
no.
that's 6 months out versus
Right.
2 months out.
Right,
You
and
know
at
what I
that
mean?
point, they're at a point mentally where they're like, I'll play devil just to
So
feel
yes,
good.
in theory
Yes.
it's the same, but I get
Right,
it. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And I always think about that too when people have to cut services. Like just like I feel bad for them. I miss them. I want them to come in, but I understand. You know,
Right.
I am a little fortunate that I have another income too. My husband, you know, has a business, so
Yeah.
But still, you know, it hurts when I don't see my people. And
Right.
of course, I'm here to make a good living. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's
So what do you like to implement back into your business? Now, I know you said you like to continue your education.
Yeah.
Do you, when you feel like you have a slower time in the business and your books, do you put any specials out or to try and get new clients
Yeah.
in just to fill up that time?
Okay.
Or are you really focusing on the business side of things
Yeah.
and not really growing your books?
Yeah. So I've worked with a lot of mentors, and especially spray tan, but just the beauty world. And one thing that I sort of don't do is discount myself. Now, there's a lot of like different ways you can think about this. Well, I guess I should back it up. I will do free tans, okay? I almost rather do free to get people to come in than discount myself, right?
Yeah.
Especially for someone that's new, like let's say I go to an event, we'll hand out cards for a free tan. It's weird because people, I can give 10 off, they'll never come in. It's weird.
Really?
Oh my gosh, me and Karina giggle about this. I have handed out so many cards, even free cards. People never come in, ever. Let's say I've handed out 100, 10 people have come in.
Oh my goodness.
Even for free or 10
Even
off.
for free.
Doesn't matter.
Because I would understand with the 10 off, maybe they're loyal to someone and they're
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But if it's free, it'd be like,
Literally
how can I
free.
say no to a free?
People have won them in donations. They've won them in car. It doesn't matter. People don't come in. So that's sort of an interesting thing.
Yeah.
And this is where my mentors are like, don't do it. If people want to come in, do not discount, do not do free, right?
Right.
Because, and it's sort of proven right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, no
Well,
way.
it's true,
If it was
too.
me,
Yeah.
I'm so going in for a free service.
Yeah.
But I love this industry, so I'll try anything that I'm
Right.
like want to try.
Right.
Not everyone's like that, especially with the spray tan specifically,
Okay.
because it's still up and coming. Even though yes, they've been around for eternity, they're more common. People still don't know, and so they're like, I'm not going in unless I really want, and then I'll pay.
Right.
But I've done lots of free tans, and those people turn into regular business more than likely. So again, I don't discount for various reasons. I don't know. Maybe I will in the future.
But if that's what's working for you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and
It's always
every business
worked.
is different.
Yeah, the only thing we do is our membership, but that's that's always an ongoing thing.
And it's more of like a VIP thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people that want to do it a lifestyle.
And they're already loyal.
And we want to make them able to afford it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't hurt them every time they're walking in
Yes.
for a tan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to think about that, especially as we're growing. We need to keep busier.
Right.
Because you need to make more money.
Yes.
You know, your business
Yes.
starts to depend on a certain amount. So you never know. We might restructure that or give more discounts or
Right. You're
you know?
constantly learning and growing.
yeah, and what works, because different seasons, you know,
Yeah.
right now we haven't done it, but who's to say in 6 months we won't, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, for sure. And kind of along those lines, what sets you apart from other spray tan artists, whether that's just not even locally, but
Yeah.
I know you have a huge passion on the more natural and organic side of things.
Yeah.
And just your health and being as
Yes.
healthy as you possibly can on
Yes.
the outside and the inside.
Yes.
So what sets you guys
Yeah.
apart at everything?
So I think you summed it up. Like what we put inside, what we consume, it doesn't matter what it is. You know, people you buy, products that you use. We believe in the whole everything beauty was meant to encompass everything
Yeah.
lifestyle wise. So the beauty world is hard to be completely clean. It's really truly hard to be clean in any aspect in this world, right?
Yeah.
From the air
Yeah.
we breathe to the water we drink. So with
Right.
that being said, I don't want to become extreme and be like, oh my gosh, I would never, right? I don't think that's practical, at least not yet. So we try to source the best solution that we can, the best products that we can, and still be aware that not everybody is maybe ready for that, but we want to sort of be the pioneer in that, especially in this city.
Yeah.
Like LA, you know, other bigger cities, they're already on this. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
But for us, it's a newer thing to come to the area, and so we're just trying to educate people on better options, and keep learning and keep bringing those things into the studio.
Yeah. And I think that's huge for us in the Cleveland area too.
Yeah.
There are a lot of fellow women like you and I that are very much concerned about what we're putting in our body.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of us consider that what we're putting topically also
Yes.
gets inside of us.
Yes.
And if you're going for a
It's
spray
huge.
tan, even if it's 2 times a month, you
Yeah.
know, consistently,
Yeah.
it does get absorbed.
Absolutely. And we breathe it in.
Yeah.
Like people aren't thinking about this. So, you know, we offer even just down to nose plugs because some people don't even want to breathe it in. So we're trying to educate on all levels. It's safe. It's, you know, even if you're not using the solutions we use, like they're not bad. I'm not saying that at all. But
Right.
why not bring the best that's available?
Right. If
You know
there
what
are
I mean?
cleaner options,
Yes.
why not use it?
And they lay better on the skin, they develop better, they fade better. So
They do.
there's multiple reasons why it's good to use better as
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you bring the best to here. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you know it's going to pay off, you know what I mean? So maybe it costs a little bit more, maybe it's harder to get or whatever the thing may be, but
You can't really put a price on your health.
yes, and as being people that have struggled with
Mm-hmm.
different things, even down to mental health, like it all trickles in, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so how we take care of our body can affect everything, you know what I mean?
Everything.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in, like you said, what we put on our skin makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of a big one, and you could go a lot of different ways with this. But what do you think this industry could improve on?
Could have what?
Improve on. And we kind of,
Community.
yeah, I was going to say, we kind of
Yeah.
touched base on this earlier.
I think community is the biggest thing. I think we don't have to be afraid to talk.
Yeah.
Even money. I think some people are afraid to even talk about, money. And I
Yeah.
think, like, listen, I love what I do and I'm passionate about it, but I want to make a good living.
Yes.
I want freedom to come from this. I want to give people jobs from this. Like, I'm looking to make a difference
Right.
in my life and the community's life.
Yeah.
And then people's, not even just people in my community, but like women, people, like, so I think community over everything. And I think, yes, it's talked about, but I don't know how true it is. I
Yeah.
feel like it's coming. And I think
I do think we've made a huge step towards it.
I do too. And I think COVID was a big opener for all that. And I hate to keep bringing up COVID, but I think a lot changed when COVID happened.
Yeah.
But the more we support truly people, the more we're not afraid to talk about money and wanting to be successful and empower, even if it's not the way we think it should be done or we think they should not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, support people, be honest, give advice, don't give advice. Like, there's so many ways to help this industry grow that if you have a good heart and your intentions are good, we can all be successful and we can all make a difference. And there's no limits to what that can be for us individually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to touch base more on that pricing thing too, this kind of boils my blood sometimes, because why is it okay that when an electrician gives you a bill, you don't bat an eye?
Yes.
Or someone with a college degree.
Yes.
What does that change that makes their profession
100%.
an actual profession, whereas versus us, we are looked at as just a hobby.
Yeah.
We're just doing this just to get by.
Yeah.
And people that do hair or do makeup
Yeah.
and spray tans, that was like, they're not that smart.
It's wild. Yeah.
And they don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And why are you charging that kind of money? It's not worth that.
Yeah. And that's where we're going to make a difference in
Yeah.
that. And I feel like I'm not going to try to convince anybody of that.
No,
and I'm
because
not
if you
going,
don't see, if you don't find my worth.
Yeah. And again, like, you can go try to find somebody else, and that's
Right.
great. Like, there's
Yeah.
people that are priced in all different ranges, and good for them if
And
that aligns with
that's
them.
the wonderful thing about the industry.
Yes,
is
but I
there's- yeah.
also think people think in our industry they have to undercharge to be busy. And when people start to really know their worth, they could literally just give them, like, they deserve it. And I
Yes.
think that's where I struggle, when someone isn't charging truly their worth,
I agree.
because they're worth it.
Yes.
And they have the skill and they've given the time, and you deserve it.
No,
You know what
I
I mean? And
agree.
I don't, and like you said, like, why, just because you're an electrician, do you deserve $150 an hour? And I don't hesitate. There was a plumber at my house for, I'm not joking, 14 minutes, and I got a
Yes.
bill for $150.
Uh-huh. Yep.
There was no asking
Yeah.
him. There was no
That's
saying, like,
literally just a
I
fee to
was
have
like,
me come and
"Woo!"
look.
And he said to me, I'm not sure what's going on. Let me know if it comes back. And I'm like, okay. But I was like, cool. This is what you want to charge. Here you go. You know what I mean?
Right.
So then I'm like, okay. Like, did it sting for a half a second? Because at 14 minutes, I was like, but good for him.
Right.
And he's reputable. He does a good job. I trust him. So I feel like, I think that's the biggest thing. Charge what you think. Don't be afraid to charge what you're worth, especially if you truly give this your all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think there may be some people that do the opposite and they gouge you, but they
Yes.
maybe don't continue education. They don't care that
yeah.
you're in there. So I think there is that fine line. Some
There is a
people
fine
take
line.
advantage of.
That's what I was just going to
Yes.
say. Though the term "charge your worth" can be taken out of context.
Yes, yeah, there is a
And
difference.
I
Yes.
think that there is that fine line. There are some people that hear that
Yeah.
and charge whatever they want to charge
Yes.
in hopes that they're going to get it. And
Yeah.
it's not, there's no science behind what you're charging.
Right.
I think you definitely should be sitting down, seeing what your expenses cost.
Yep.
Everything, not just product, but
Yep.
your overhead,
Yeah,
all of those
all
costs.
of it, yeah.
See what each client on average is making you out of pocket.
Yeah.
Then seeing how much money you're putting into education every year. Seeing what
Yes.
your living expenses are and
Yes.
what you need to physically make
Yes.
to get by
Yes.
in your life
Yes.
with groceries and
Yes.
gas, and kind of figure out what your worth is with all of those
And
factors.
all the other time with social media. Like, yes, like, that is I count that as my time, which
It is. It's a
I
second
barely
job.
do it, but okay,
But it
clearly
is.
not.
It's
It
like a
is a
second
part of her
job.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like, yeah, like, oh, go on. I'm not going to value that as much as, like, being in studio, right?
Right, because there's no monetary
Yeah,
value
and
in
it's like,
that,
okay, like, do I, so
But it
that's
is
a
still
fine
time.
line. And
Yeah.
and to grow in this industry, especially as a one-woman show or a smaller,
Mm-hmm.
business. But, yes, I guess, like, when I say charge what you're worth, like, yes, don't take advantage of people,
No.
okay? Like, you don't
Right.
have to gouge people to make the living that you want, whatever
Right.
that is. But charge what you're worth, though,
Yeah. And I agree with that too, because if, let's say you're coming out of school, you're going independent like you did.
Yeah.
And just to give an example with like the hair industry, charging what you think Sally down the street is charging or less than that because you're wanting to build the business and you're thinking if you're charging less, that's how you're going to get clients.
Right.
It's very true, but you're not only going to get a separate clientele than maybe what you
Yes.
want and what your brand is just
Yes.
because you're getting those Groupon ladies, and not to say anything wrong about that.
Yes.
But it is a different type of clientele and they're
100%.
looking for those cheaper options. So then when you
Yes.
are raising your prices in order to compensate for your worth and to make a better living because you aren't really getting by.
Yeah.
All those
Yeah.
people that you just built your books on are going to leave you.
100%.
And you're going to be left back at square one.
Yes.
So starting off in the right spot is
Yes.
going to change everything.
And that's something to touch on the Groupon thing. Like, we've never done Groupon. We teetered with it a couple different times. But you were right. We wanted to gravitate to a certain kind of person that would be
Right.
loyal if they knew the quality was there.
Yes.
And they weren't just looking for that price point.
Right.
Which, again, that's okay too.
Right,
But
and there's nothing being wrong if
nothing
you
wrong
want
with it.
clients that do want
yeah.
that discount.
100%. Or
But
maybe
your
if you're
branding isn't
Yes.
around that, and so that's just not for you.
Yeah, it's just
and
not for
I'm
me.
the same way.
Yep.
Like, I am more of a luxury service, so
Yes.
I am not going to.
They're
be
not going to
putting up-
align with us. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
So I feel like we went a different direction than that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm loving all
Yes,
of this.
I know.
feel
Like,
like
talk about this forever.
yes, yes. What are some words of wisdom you want to leave the people for watching today?
Yeah, I would say feel it in your heart. Like, feel like how you want to make people feel every day. Like, I forget who said this, but like, bring joy to, like, even though we have some harder days, right? But like, you want to bring energy, happiness, joy, passion to every person that walks in your door, right? So just like, you feel it inside when you know you're doing what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're like questioning it. Don't get me wrong. Like, have I thought about, like, I just want to go work for somebody? Sure.
Yeah.
Have
Right,
I
'cause
thought
it's-
about,
but
like,
it's the easy way out.
yeah.
And nothing in life worth having is easy.
No, and that's true too, and be honest, like, I don't know, just be a good person and lean on fellow people in the industry. Get a mentor if you need it. Like, I have learned so much for investing in my business. And I know that's scary too, because who wants to pay someone to give you advice? But always be looking for someone ahead of you.
Right.
That's done better, that's been more successful. Like, don't be afraid of that.
Yep.
Embrace
You don't
that.
want to be the smartest person in the room.
No, because that's when I just, like, stagnation, like you said.
Yeah.
If you're stagnant, if you're afraid of learning from somebody, you're not going to keep growing. You
No.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just have fun. I mean, like, I don't know. I think we're in an amazing industry, and I just feel
agree.
like support each other, be happy, be joyful, and just love what you're doing.
Yeah. Which is so amazing when you are in a career that you are passionate about.
Yeah.
You have that ability to do that.
Yeah, and it's always changing, which is cool and annoying sometimes.
Yes.
Because just when you're like, oh, I got it,
Yep.
you're like, oh my gosh, something new
Uh-huh.
came. But then I'm like, why not?
Right.
Because that keeps us young in the mind. It keeps you current, and you integrate as you see fit. We don't have to jump on every trend and every product that comes out, but I feel like it's fun to just keep always, like, learning and growing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to dive off of that, where you want to be happy every day for your client, is there anything that you do at the start of your workday
Yeah.
to kind of put you in that mood and that headspace?
I will say for me, like, I eat breakfast every day. My day starts the same every day. I
Yeah.
have I have a healthy breakfast that's really well balanced with all, like, the macros.
I love that. I'm the opposite.
Yeah, I have
cannot
to
eat in the morning.
Okay, see, so I start off like that. I have one cup of coffee after breakfast. I read my devotional and get moving on my day. That's
love
really
that.
how I start every day. Doesn't matter if I'm working or not, but it sets the tone.
Yeah.
Consistency, within reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have a foundation, but sometimes you can't control everything, but my morning starts the same every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I have one more question for
Yeah.
you. What are some things that you're excited about in the near future in your business? Maybe new products that you've been testing out or anything that you want to share?
Yeah. So we are looking at new space down the street from you, actually.
Yes.
Trying to make it more of truly what Everything Beauty was meant to be. It was
Yeah.
meant to be makeup, body products, more services. So we'll see. Yeah. If it's meant to be, it will be at
Right.
the right time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that's it. We're going to more trainings, of course, as always, but making it more of a boutique will be the vision for this coming
So
year.
exciting.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sending good vibes your way for all of this.
Yes. And for community, we're going to have a big room where we can have things like this.
Amazing.
Workshops, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yay.
Well, I'm excited for what's in the
Yay.
future.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming
Yay.
on.
Thank you.
And yeah,
Yay, guys.
you'll be back.
Yes.
This is not just the first time that she will be here.
Yes,
She is definitely going to be a part
I
of
love
this.
you. I love what you've
thank
done.
you.
I'm proud
Yeah.
of you, and I'll cry thinking about where we
So,
started because we've
I
known each other.
know. I
We
know.
started off as just like passing each other in the
Yeah.
hallway.
Yeah.
You trusted me with a couple services, and over time, we've developed a nice
I know. We
friendship.
started going to coffee together and just
Yeah.
like sitting down.
Tell me what books you're reading.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I love it all.
And that's why this is important.
Yeah.
When you meet friends that are rooting for you, you know what I mean? It hits different. Yeah. Yeah.
Jinx.
Yeah. It's a match made in heaven.
Well, thanks for being the first
Thank you.
chick on
Yes,
the couch
yes,
on this
yes.
podcast.
Yay,
And
guys.
we'll see you all next time.
See you next time.